We're here with Fresno City head men's and women's wrestling coach Paul Keysaw. Paul, just first year with women's wrestling. Can you give us an overview? Can you just give us your highlight of the season or highlights of the season so far?
So far, the highlights of the season is having season one and getting women's wrestling up off the ground and getting it started. It's been 5-6 years behind the scenes of working, creating bylaws, creating the Women's Wrestling Association. It's really nice to see it come to fruition this year, and I'm very proud and happy to say I had a small part in making it happen, and I'm looking forward to competing in this tournament today.
Can you talk a little bit about the process of starting a women's wrestling program, starting women's wrestling in the state of California at the junior college level? I know it didn't happen overnight. Can you talk a little bit about that process?
It didn't happen overnight. It's taken many years. In fact, 5-6 years. We've been having a lot of meetings. We've had a few California Community College coaches meetings. Getting all the paperwork involved. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that goes to starting a season, getting the 3C2A on board, coming out in folk style. I guess my biggest thing I can say is I'm really proud to have been part of getting women's wrestling off the ground in California. It's taken a lot of people to help, John Woods and Mary Haggerty and all the schools that are supporting it, all the coaches that are supporting it. I really feel in the next few years women's wrestling is really going to take off in California Community College.
That's a great point. So you've done everything there is to do in men's wrestling. You NCAA Division I champion. You've coached men's championship teams, and you've seen the growth of women's wrestling throughout the country. Can you talk a little bit about that, about the growth of women's wrestling and what you expect for the future?
Wrestling's my heart and blood. I love the sport. Without the sport, there are so many young men who wouldn't have opportunities and chances to come along. To see this happen with the women is just remarkable. The sport, I'm so excited to have the women have the same opportunities. I'm a huge wrestling guy. The only thing that women's wrestling is going to do is make wrestling stronger. We already see it. Women's wrestling is bringing in a whole different clientele of people to come to wrestling, people who are never associated with wrestling. You're starting to see new businesses crop up, supporting not just women's wrestling, but wrestling in general. You're starting to see more job opportunities for women's wrestling. You're starting to see more officiating opportunities. You're starting to see more tournaments. You're just starting to see, and it's not only at the college level, it's starting at the youth. And it's really exciting time for the sport of wrestling to watch it grow.
Last but not least, what are your expectations for today, or what are you looking forward to about today?
You know what? I hope we compete well today. I hope a couple of the girls can bring home some medals. I'm trying not to have too high expectations here. I just hope that the girls will be able to compete their best. Hopefully we can take home some hardware and